It's done and it's nearly driven me completely mad. I will never do a project like that again. Hello, it's Ed. Welcome to the studio. Thanks for joining me again. Today I just want to talk you through my first project of 2024 because it's really easy to start getting sluggish over the winter. There seems to be very little to do to actually take great photographs. Occasionally you'll get some fantastic weather, some mist or some fog or some snow, and that's brilliant and inspiring. But generally I find the winter a very uninspiring time and I just need something to get the creative juices flowing. So I thought I'll do 24 frames at 24mm focal length on the theme of 24 and get it all done by the 24th of January 2024. Hopefully, once I start on that project, the ideas will flow for other more interesting projects that I can do throughout the year. So without further ado, let me load up the camera. It's going to be the usual, the EOS 500, because it's my go-to film camera now, and we will crack on. There we go, 24 exposures to burn through. Okay, so it's a bit obvious, but you've got to start somewhere, haven't you? 24-hour car park, so 24. Just got to try and make something interesting out of that. I'll have a look around, see if there's anything that will give it some context, make it more interesting. It is a challenge to work only at 24mm. 40mm is kind of my standard focal length, but that's why I'm doing this. I'm trying to grow. This project's already making me look at the world and looking out for number 24 on every street. Now, that's the thing I wouldn't normally do. I'd be looking in the shadows or something, and I'd miss interesting things. I found a 24. That is number 24, High Street. Charity shops, pre-loved clothing, that's all stuff that me and Lucy are interested in. So I'm going to take a picture of that. Okay, now this is a little bit of a... we're getting desperate now on. But lampposts, they are numbered. Don't know why, I suppose you're going to be able to identify one if a bulb goes out or something. But there's a 24 on that lamppost, so... Do you know the size of a regulation soccer goal? Exactly 24 feet. And so we are going to take a picture of this goal. I'm going to try and use this football as a bit of foreground interest. So this is an example of using this theme to go and do something that I'd really like to do anyway and maybe find out something a bit different, because I love canals. People who've watched my channel for a while will know this. So I've decided to go and look for bridge number 24 on this canal, because all canals here in England have bridges and the numbers on the bridges so you can identify where they are. So I'm going to head off and get a picture there. So we're at bridge 24 now, it's just up there, and what makes it interesting is there is a boat in front of it, so it should make a nice shot. I'm not going to be literal and just take a picture of the sign 24 on the bridge, because that would be really boring. What I'm trying to do is use the theme of 24, and that doesn't mean I have to show a 24. I love coming to this canal, and it's given me an excuse to come up here, which is great, and it's got me thinking about other themes as well, about water, about boating, about freedom. So it's been worthwhile, as I keep saying, just to do this project, even if the actual end results aren't the most amazing pictures in the world and don't exactly fit with my usual style. It's just good to do something different and to keep those creative juices flowing. So right, I'm way too far away from this boat. I'm going to have to get a lot closer in and get a shot. Right, let's crack on. So why am I playing darts in the studio? It's not what I normally do. This dartboard does not belong here, and it will be going away very shortly. But there is a very particular reason why, and that is because I need to get a double 12, because that adds up to 24. Victory! Okay, now I have to admit that I'm pretty much getting tired of this project, trying to find 24s and just wandering around. I thought, what's an easy one? What has the atomic number 24? And the answer is chromium. And I thought there's loads of things with chromium on, but apparently chromium is going out now. I think it's being phased out or has been phased out. So it's really hard to find something that's interesting to photograph that's also chrome. I've just walked past this motorcycle here and it's a nice looking motorbike and it has chrome bits on it. So I'm going to get the camera out and I'm going to shoot that, and that is going to be my Chromium 24. This project has got me interested in taking photographs again and got me thinking, but it's also frustrated me, really, really frustrated me. So I'm back on the streets again, and you may think, oh, he's going to take another picture of a 24. I can see a 24 there. But no, I'm going to try and be a little bit more clever than that. So it is nice that there's a 24 there too. So in the English alphabet, what is the 24th letter? It is X. And this is quite an interesting venue. This has a lot of history. And so I'm going to use it as my X, my 24th letter of the English alphabet. I've reached a bit of a crisis with this project because 24 is such an arbitrary thing. I'm really an intuitive photographer. I use it to not overthink, and this 24 thing, it's about being clever and coming up with clever ideas. It started off with this project really unlocking things and getting me motivated, but now it's actually started blocking me, and it kind of feeds into a project which I'll talk about in another episode, which is about the difference between passion and obsession, which I did a project on way back, and I'll show some of those photos. But it is that thing where I was starting off passionate about it and then I started becoming obsessed with 24s. The worst example is I went out for dinner and I decided to go out because I wanted to get number 24 on the menu and then photograph that food, and because of the season 24 wasn't on the menu. And for a moment I just felt really disappointed and annoyed, and it kind of spoiled the start of my meal. It was just that thing where I started thinking 24, it's really not that important. I think maybe if I'd picked one 24 thing like Psalm 24 or 24 hours in a day, so a day in somebody's life, that would have been better. So I've decided it's time to knock this project on the head. Got my camera with me, got 14 frames left. I'm going to shoot these, I'm going to churn them out so I can move on. At the end of this walk, I will head to the lab and I will get the film developed, and that will be the end of it. Do you know what the last and 24th letter of the Greek alphabet is? It is Omega. And I wanted to find something really interesting, omega related, or maybe get a capsule, a golden capsule of omega-3, but I'm just running out of time, so it's just going to be this. You see, it's how you actually do the thing rather than just the idea that's important, and this is proof. So as you can see, the good news is that all 24 frames did come out. So we have a set of pictures, but it is a very disparate set of pictures and it is rather hard to see them as a set. So the first thing I did after doing the initial scanning and processing was to do a really heavy colour grade to try and unify the set. It's not going to do it, but it's an attempt. So if we look at the first frame, this is probably one of my favourites actually, because it's the sort of photography that I like to do, and the 24 is kind of incidental to it. I have stuck to the brief by getting the 24 in there, but my main focus of interest is the blank advertising hoarding and the people walking past it, and so that I think works as a photo in itself. But as an example of 24, it's kind of stretching it as far as it is possible to go. Looking at the Bridge 24 photograph, again, it's stretching things
quite a lot because the bridge is almost a pinpoint in the back of the photograph, but it is there, and so it does fulfill the brief. Bizarrely, the picture of the lamppost with the 24 on it, I think kind of works well as one of the 24 ones. It's kind of distorted a little bit and it's looming out, and yeah, I just kind of like it as a photograph. The Oxfam shop is an Oxfam shop. Again, it was number 24, it fulfills the brief, but it's more just documentary really. I really like the photograph of the goalposts and the football. It would be even better if there weren't some white hoarding behind the goalpost, and there is some slight barrel distortion as well from the lens, so the goal is sort of bowed because it was this 24mm angle, which I really don't get on with. It has got its uses, but in general I think it's just too wide for me and I don't really like the effect that you get with it. The dartboard does what it says on the tin. It didn't really get me to go anywhere, it didn't get me to do anything different, but yeah, I suppose it got me to play a bit of darts, and that's never a bad thing. I quite like the picture of me holding the tea cake, and yeah, it weighs 24 grams, so that is the reason for that photograph. The picture of 24 pence in various denominations, it kind of works quite well because it's a simple photograph, and it clearly shows the theme. The dominoes, again, I think work quite well. Obviously, if you add the dominoes together, it's 24, and it's come out quite well. I was in a dark pub, so that's the reason for the colour cast and slightly soft image. I do like the picture of the motorcycle, and it's not just because I love motorcycles. I think it works quite well. It shows the chrome. And then there are a couple of these really desperate ones at the end. This is a kind of meta picture because it's my list of 24 things with 24 things on the list. And this picture is my wedding ring on a rock. I was trying to get the gold and green because I thought the colours would work together. The idea is pure gold is 24 carat. So although my wedding ring isn't 24 carat gold, a little bit of artistic license. I might have gone a little bit closer in if I'd been able to, but this was pretty much the minimum focusing distance of the 24mm lens. So again, the choice of lens has limited me as well as the subject. This one, I really wanted to get a number 24 bus, but there aren't any 24 buses in Manchester or Stockport, so I flipped the negative over because there are 42s. Now this is actually one of my favourites from the set. And the point of it is that human beings have 24 ribs, almost always. The normal number of ribs for a human being is 24. So I was going to ask Lucy to model the Halloween t-shirt she's got with a rib cage on it. It's a skeleton top. I realised that I was going to knock this project on the head before I saw her again to do this. So she sent me a picture of the top and it appeared on my Apple Watch. I just took a picture of the picture, so it's a meta one, but it actually kind of works in a more interesting way, I think. I really like the composition. That's probably the only keeper, maybe, of the whole 24. The rest destined for the bin, I'm afraid. But there you go. I did complete the project.
So what have I learned from this project, this experiment during January? Well, I guess the first thing is that next time I do a project, I need to remember to go with my heart rather than my head, because I just found myself getting really frustrated, having to just come up with clever ideas. If I'm going to do something like this again, I'm going to give myself either a very short deadline, everything done in a day so I can move on, or give myself a really long deadline so that I don't feel pressured into trying to get everything done by a certain time. Then I start cutting corners, rushing things, doing things that aren't as good as I would like to do. But having said that, I do hope you did take something from watching me struggle with the emotions and the practicalities of getting this project done. But I have to say, I'm very happy to now knock it on the head and move on to something else. So I hope you'll join me again next week for something completely different. Please do like, subscribe, share. It really does help me out. So if you could take a moment to do that, that would be absolutely brilliant. Until next time, have a great week. Bye for now.